to my channel. Today's video is going to be using one light modifier 3 different ways. So I really wanted to do this video because I think it's important for a lot of beginner studio photographers and beauty photographers out there to know that there are a lot of different ways you can just use one modifier and you don't need to spend a lot of money on a home studio kit. There's a lot of things that you can do to make your work versatile, and I want to go through a couple of those things today. So right here I have my Honeycomb Light Octabox. All the details for these items will be in the description box below, by the way, so if you want to check them out later on, you can do so. So I have this Octabox and I've had this one for quite a few years. I do love it as having it for my main light most of the time with a lot of my beauty setups at home. It's a very versatile light and I'm going to show you guys why. But I really love having it. It's such a big light too, so it really allows me to control more light. One thing that I really want to start off by saying is a lot of the time I will have this as a one light setup with a reflector. And I've actually said this a few times in previous videos. I do like having a one light setup because I think it allows me a little bit more space in my current setup, which is quite small. And it's actually quite a versatile tool in having a one light setup. Even though it's only one light, you can use it different ways. So I'm going to quickly show you guys now how I could alter the light using this modifier with a few different other items that came with my kit. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you guys is the inner diffuser. So this actually sits on the inside of the Octabox. And if you can see these straps here, they actually clip onto that. So I'm going to quickly demonstrate this to you guys and clip this on. So this is generally how it would sit. Now, obviously mine's quite a few years old. I do have a couple of broken ones down the bottom and at the top here. However, I've just got safety pins that I use to help hold them together, just little metal ones. So this diffuser I don't actually often use. I think it's because I don't really use subtle differences between my work. I either have something diffused or I have something that's a bit harsher light. So I think particularly for beauty, there's not a lot of different setups that I use, but when I change my setup, I do want it to be a little bit more dramatic. So you can use this just by itself, or you can use it in conjunction with the next diffuser I'm about to show you. And the purpose of this is really just to diffuse the light a little bit. So this sits in the middle of the Octabox and you can put extra modifiers on the outside of it to combine with it, and that's what a lot of people would do with this. I don't always use this. I think you can easily work into a lot of setups though, so it's definitely something to keep in mind. So this is the first real diffuser I'm actually going to show you how to use. And this is one of the ways that I light my portraits a lot of the time. And this is by using just the normal diffuser, which sits on the outside of the Octabox. So you can use this, like I said, in conjunction with this, and it will create a very soft light. I wouldn't say I ever go for that super soft light though, so I probably wouldn't use this one. I would just place this one on the outer rim of the Octabox. So also just a quick disclaimer, everyone's lighting kits are probably going to be very different, but this is what has come with my lighting kit and with my Octabox. I'm sure for most brands you will be able to pick up these extra modifiers in a lot of different areas online, so I think they'd be pretty easy to come across. And some of these I think would be fairly cheap to find as well. This setup would be a pretty standard one for me if I was just looking for a fairly soft light for the models that I was photographing. I would say I use this a lot of the time. However, I have come across another setup that I'm going to show you guys just in a second, and I really do love using this one in particular. I think it gives a very nice soft light using this setup, but I'm not always after that with beauty. I am after it sometimes, but I do feel that sometimes I really want highlights to pop a little bit more, and I want there to be a little bit more crispness in the lighting on the skin tone. So I'm actually going to show you a quick photograph right now of what this lighting setup looks like by itself. And I'll show you how this light actually works in a real life situation with photographing a model. And then I'm going to show you guys at the end what the difference between each of the setups is. The next item we have here is a Honeycomb Grid, and this came with my Octabox as well. So this is a really, really cool thing because I have recently been using this a lot in my beauty work, and this actually helps to center the light a little bit more. So it helps prevent a lot of light spill with the Octabox, and it helps direct the light a little bit more onto the model. I really love using this by itself. Now you can actually use this in conjunction with the diffuser if you want to direct the light a little bit more but still have that diffusion, that softness. I personally, like I said before, I like to have my setups a little bit more dramatically different to the next. So I actually use this by itself. So this is how the Honeycomb Grid would generally fit on, and this is how I like to usually photograph with it. So it really does help bring the light into a bit of a stronger atmosphere with the model, and it helps illuminate the skin tone a lot more and really give those nice crisp highlights, which I really do love. I do think there is a problem with just using the Honeycomb Grid without a diffuser, and it does tend to leave quite a few lines on the backdrop. So you will see the shadow from this grid sometimes, and that's not always ideal, and it's not the easiest thing to get out in Photoshop. I mean, it's doable, but for a lot of people, they don't really want to have to mess around with that. So I actually use this a lot for macro, very up close shots of the makeup to help those highlights pop even more, and then I don't really have to worry about the shadows in the background or anything like that. It's just focusing on the model's face. So I think this is generally the setup that I would use for something quite close up, and you can use this with the inner diffuser as well, which I talked about in the beginning. So there's actually a lot more than 3 different ways that you can use all of these items. There's actually countless ways because you can mix and match all of them together. And then the last item I have here is a hood diffuser for the Octabox. Now you've got 2 sides to this. You've got the silver side and you've got the black side as well. So depending on what side you use on the inner of the light is dependent on how the light's going to look. So the black side, if you have the black side with the silver facing out and the black is in the middle of the light, that's actually going to absorb a little bit more of the light and focus the light a little bit more dimly onto the model. If you use the silver on the inner, that is actually going to bounce the light around a lot more in the Octabox, and it's going to really give that illuminated feel but still focusing it on the model. So as I said, you can mix and match these. With this particular Octabox, the Velcro is quite large here, so it is for the fact that you can use several of these at the one time. So I could potentially use this with the Honeycomb Grid if I wanted the Honeycomb Grid effect, but I wanted the light to be even more centered and more direct. So I'm going to show you guys what this looks like without the Honeycomb Grid though. Mine's a little bit crinkled there, but you do get the idea with putting this one on. So I've actually got the black facing inwards and the silver on the outside. So the black is actually going to help absorb some of that light in the output, and this will hopefully work a little bit more like a beauty dish would. And you can use the silver side and still get that sort of similar effect. This is really good if you can't afford a beauty dish like me at the moment and you want a cheaper alternative to doing that. So there's lots of different ways that you can focus the light a little bit more if you find that this is just too wide and too big, which a lot of the time I find it is for someone that's sitting on a chair in front of me. I do find that for beauty, I like to control the light a little bit more, but a lot of people like just using the very diffused soft light setup. So it's really good to experiment with a lot of these and maybe combine a few of them together. But as I said, I'm going to show you examples of each of these lighting setups and show you how the light differs from image to image. I would say the 2 most similar by themselves would be something like this and the Honeycomb Grid. However, I still like how the Honeycomb Grid really diffuses a little bit more than this would, because you've obviously got that big open area here, so you're letting more light directly onto the model's face, whereas this is cutting it a little bit. So guys, I hope you found this video informative, and I hope it helped any beginners out there who are looking at getting into studio photography. As I said, there's so many different ways, countless ways to modify your light. Even if you don't have these specific modifiers, check them out online, or maybe even look at doing something DIY. Of course, it is safe for your softbox. You don't want to put any material on here that's going to be flammable or anything that's not going to do well with heat, because bad things can happen with certain materials. But there are a lot of DIY tutorials online that are safe to do and that can be a cheaper alternative. As I said, everything is going to be in the description box below if you would like to go and check it out. A lot of the links that I have are affiliate links, so they do help support my channel and help me to continue doing videos in future. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!